So today's show is around unlocking efficiency, innovative UX features for a seamless experience. We have Carina Alabanza back. She's a senior manager of UX at Reltio. Welcome back, Carina.
Thank you, Chris. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you back. So as usual, keep yourself on mute. All questions should be asked in chat. And from time to time, some people do take themselves off mute and ask. It's okay too. It will be recorded and posted to the community, and I'll send out an email probably later today or tomorrow. The email will probably go out tomorrow. So here's the thing. We have lots of shows coming up this summer, one every week and one or two more being scheduled to the end of July. Sometimes we have two a week. So just in case you couldn't get enough, but here is the lineup of shows, today's show. And then we have about 3 shows coming up on Reltio Integration Hub, which lots of people are interested in RIH and the different things that you can do around that. If you are a life sciences company, we do have one of our partners doing a show around patient centricity. So pretty excited about that. We have a couple of new things that came out on Reltio. We want to showcase that. One is unlocking the potential of Reltio Business Critical Edition, enhanced security and resilience. So that's of interest, I know, on July 9th. We have the Databricks pipeline on the 11th, and then the 18th, the Calibra one, and how Reltio integrates into that. Lots of really good stuff. And lastly, get your phones out, scan it. We have a data-driven 24 modern data management conference, October 7th and 9th in Orlando, Florida. We would love to have you. The other thing is, if you do sign up, and since you're all part of the community, if you use the code, and it's all, I should put on here, uppercase community, then you'll get $100 off of that. So just make sure if you sign up for that, get that $100 off, use community code. That's all I have, Karina. Hopefully
Awesome.
it wasn't too
All
long.
right. I'm going to take over the screen. Hey, everybody. Let me share my screen. So glad to be back. The last UX session I did, I think, was a couple of months ago. And actually, in that webinar, I introduced some of these features. So I'm extremely excited to actually show you a live demos of all the features that I'm about to show you today. And they're coming out in 24.2 release. So the theme of today is unlocking efficiency, innovative UX features for a seamless experience, and really focusing on, again, efficiency and productivity, both for the data stewards and also for the business users. And we have 4 exciting features that we are releasing in 24.2 that really helps advance that theme and that user experience. Here, all right, so we have, for the first one, conditional attribution. Super excited about this one. And this one, what it does is that it dynamically shows or hides attributes based on the value of a controller driver attribute. So we know that there are sometimes entity types that have a long list, hundreds of attributes, and sometimes not all those attributes are relevant. And so for data stewards, really just showing them those relevant attributes as they fill in the page based on the options that they select. So it will then dynamically and show and hide these types of attributes based on that value. So I'm going to go over that in a little bit more detail. And then in the lines of also the profile creation process, we have collaborative profile authoring. And that's where we chunk the attribute groups and attribute facets into different separate pages instead of that one long form, right, that our stewards are used to. So this makes it a lot more efficient, less cognitive load, and also it makes it a lot more manageable to create this profile. I'm going to go over some of the new features that we have for RIA, specifically the ability to create charts. We have a historical thread feedback that we introduced. And then finally, segmentation and activation. I'm going to show you how to create segments directly from the Search UI page, view those segments, and then activate it to your downstream applications for marketing campaigns. So that mostly is for the business user. And again, this is for 24.2. So let's get started. Let's start with conditional attribution. Okay. Let's create an organization. So imagine that there are specific like lookup types or values that then help drive the what attributes your data stewards then should fill in. And that's exactly what we did. And that's what the conditional attribution does. Is here you have this organization type. And once I select customer direct, these three attributes then show up, meaning that these three attributes are relevant to this value that I selected. Now, if I were to change this value to, let's say, distributor, now it immediately hides those other attributes and only shows the attributes that are relevant to that specific value. And this makes it a lot easier for your data stewards to really focus on what matters without them having to guess and fill in those that may not be relevant to the value that they selected. They are immediately just shown just a set of attributes that they must fill in. Again, without having to show them this very long list of attributes and then having to guess, they're just now shown and they can configure the type of attributes that they can see. And in Data Modeler, so how you create this is that in Data Modeler, we have added this new tab. Notice this new tab under attributes is called conditions. Okay. And I'm going to edit this because this is the one I just created. And it's a very simple rule-like builder. For example, from that demo that I just showed you in the UI, if the control attribute is organization type, you would then select the attribute name first. If it equals customer direct, which is the value, then show the following attributes. And this is where you would then select the attributes that you want to show, and then you save it. So it's very easy that even a data steward or someone who doesn't have the technical skills really to create these conditional attributes directly from the data modeler in a self-service way. And so what happens is that ownership status, industry, and tax ID, those attributes are going to be hidden by default, right? And they will only show up if the value is customer direct. Okay, I'm going to cancel out of this. And so we're really excited about this feature, right? And we truly think that it's going to make that the profile creation process a lot more seamless, a lot more direct, and also faster for your stewards. And this is available in both the regular profile creation and also collaborative profile authoring. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. The next one that I want to discuss is profile authoring. I'm going to cancel out of this. Let's now create an individual. Okay. So I actually just registered my son for some baseball tournament. I like using this example because in that baseball tournament, they asked for a ton of information, a long list of information. His name, his date of birth, medical information, school information, his stats, his team information, and all of this was in one long form. And it was such a daunting task. And not only that, when it was time for me to submit this form, I received then a bunch of like validation errors, some at the very top, some in the middle, some at the end. And it was even more difficult for me to correct these issues. So with profile authoring, what we did is that we allow customers to chunk attribute groups or attribute facets into different manageable pages, as you see here, right? So it makes it a lot easier for the data steward to really focus on what's important and then move on to the next one and focus on those. It also improves the navigation. So instead of your users having to scroll through, if for example, if you want to revisit a section and you want to edit that section, currently in the regular creation, you'd have to scroll through. But in this one, you can just navigate to the different pages and the different tabs without having to scroll through an entire long form. And with this one, we also have our search before create. So this right panel here that you see is as I type in Alexander, you are then presented with all of the profiles, right? With the first name Alexander. And since now I have 229, and I go ahead and type in Luby, then it only shows me again a profile with the first name equals Alexander and last name equals Luby. So it also does validation per page. So instead of after filling out the form and saving it, it will then do a validation per page. And as I move on to the next page, it will then flag me and say, hey, Alexander and Luby are actually required attributes. Fix it before moving on to the next step. And since it is called collaborative profile authoring, there's a way to involve other members in your team who have expert knowledge to fill in certain sections of the profile, meaning that you can collaborate on creating the profile, not just one person. For example, if I'm a data steward and I go ahead and provide the profile details and then the preferences and consent, a marketing specialist maybe would be more equipped to answer some of these or fill in some of these information, right? So for this, I can create a workflow and the marketing specialist can then come in and fill in the appropriate fields who they are experts in. So then we, as a team, collaborate on creating this one profile, making sure that the information in this profile is as accurate as possible and has high data quality. And that really truly is what we feel is truly a game changer in terms of creating profiles. Sorry, my dog. Creating profiles. With that, it involves a different types of expertise in the creation of the profile.
Can I ask a question real quick?
ಬೇಗ
Yeah.
Um, Yeah. So is this only for authoring or can we show different attributes and separate tabs while viewing or updating?
No, not viewing, not updating yet. Not yet. So this is only for editing. You are correct. The viewing and editing will remain the same, where let's go look at a profile. So let's go to Jewel. This is still going to be the view experience. You see it in different facets. And then if you had configured this to enable profile authoring, once you edit this, then it's going to go into, this is individual. It's going to go into the profile authoring when you create it.
Got it. Do you plan in the future to give like options for different tabs and viewing or
Yes,
editing?
definitely. We believe in that concept, right? How you edit something is how you should be able to view it because of that familiarity and the consistency. So that's definitely something that we're looking into in the future to then make that experience more consistent.
Great. And last question. As you progress through the entry of a new profile, will the system notify the data steward that there is an existing profile that may be a duplicate?
You mean let's go back. This one, right? The search before create? Yes. So it's going to have some tag here. It's not going to alert them per se that it's going to have some sort of information banner. What it'll do is that it'll have a badge and then you can then see the results on the right panel. So my suggestion is that when you guys do create a profile, definitely have this tab open to see whether or not there are any profiles in the system that matches what you're creating. And again, as I fill this in, it's going to keep on filtering down the list of entities that I have in my tenant. It's going to then make sure that it only matches with a profile that they find.
Great. Thank you. That's all the questions.
Yeah.
So the search result will try to match to all the fields you entered, not just, let's say, full name or first name.
Yes, it will match with all the fields as you enter it, correct.
Okay. So it's just like the potential match screen here.
Yes, it does the matching and
So,
then
Okay.
shows you the results.
so just to, when you say does the matching, when you enter an attribute value, it
Mhm.
then executes any match rules or checks any match rules that involve that attribute to determine if there are any matches in the search results.
So
Yeah, Karina, I can
yeah.
clarify that. Yeah.
Yep.
So basically, it's a matching in the sense it's really searching. So when
Yep.
you type something on your type ahead search, what it is doing is taking that keyword and trying to look for that word, whatever you typed in the search word, in all attribute that you have. So it's not really triggering your match rule, but it is doing the searching on every single attribute. So none of your match rule are executed at this point of time when you're typing something. It's doing a type ahead search in real time while you're typing it.
Correct.
Got it. So there's a couple more questions, but let's keep going. And then I'll get those questions asked in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. And I just want to also quickly show how you can enable profile authoring in UI Modeler. So I'm in console, and when I go to UI Modeler, I will then select the profile page in which I want to enable profile authoring for. So in this case, I had it for individual. And notice here there's this tab called authoring, right? I click on it and I have it currently enabled. So that's why, as you can see here, when I created a profile, an individual profile, it goes through that profile authoring feature. Organization, however, does not have it enabled, and I can go ahead and enable it, has this on, and then I can add steps here. So for organization, for example, this is the profile details where I can select the attributes to display, the attributes to hide. This pretty much the same type of facet properties that you would find in the regular profile view, right? But what's new here is that I can go ahead and add steps. I can name this step, let's say contact details, or details. And then from the library, I can drag the different attribute facets to it. Maybe I want to do a relationship facet and then do the properties for this relationship facet. And then I can add another steps. It's a really simple, intuitive UI for one to create the different pages or the different steps. And also very familiar, consistent experience of dragging the different library chart facets into the page. So then again, you can chunk up that information page by page. Okay. All right, let's go back to the Hub UI. I'm going to close out of this and I'm going to go to RIA. Okay. So RIA, we continue to improve RIA with additional features to improve the user experience. In our data product line, our users will now get this full page experience of RIA. And this really is super awesome, especially because it leverages the full page for rich information like charts, graphs, tables, or detailed information. And so it also comes with the side panel that you guys are all, familiar with. But specifically for our data product line, we also added some additional features. As you can see here in the left panel is the historical threads of RIA. For example, last month, I asked RIA a question. Today, I asked it another question. So it's going to then show me the list of the different conversation threads that I've had with RIA over time. And what's great about this is that if I asked RIA about a specific analysis, or maybe I searched for something and I don't quite recall, or maybe I didn't save this search, instead of executing that, I can go back to that conversation thread. I can then see not just the search, but all the other conversations that I've had with RIA about specific profiles on that search, any kind of context that I can always refer to, and I don't have to lose that rich information and important, valuable information that I've gotten from RIA. And another thing also that we did is that we have this feedback. So if I were to go here, this feedback, whether or not it's a bad response and good response, which will then help us, Reltio, really understand the accuracy of RIA, your thoughts in RIA, then help us improve and fine tune RIA to better serve your searching needs. All right, so I clicked on it because I searched for it earlier. I like using this example again. Molly, the marketing person, and I want to send out a special offer to individuals who are 30 years and above. And because I want to create segments based on their channel engagement preferences, right? So with RIA, Molly, for example, as a business user, she is not very familiar with the specific names of the attributes, or especially if it's a nested attribute. She's not very familiar with that type of attribute. And so she would then leverage RIA, and she will feel more empowered to use this type of search using RIA. And it's going to be a lot faster and easier for her rather than her creating these search queries in advanced search. So as you can see here, she searched for all individuals who opted for multi-channel communication through text messages. It returned her 6 profiles. I can go ahead and click on View in Search page. It would then show me the advanced search query. Go ahead and collapse that. It now then shows me the list of individuals.
So since specific field name is not mentioned, how much can we trust the result returned? How accurate it will be?
If the specific field name, like if the attribute name isn't mentioned?
But as you said, use RIA,
Yeah.
you don't have to mention specific. You don't have to mention the attribute name correctly,
You don't.
basically,
Yeah.
right? My question is, how can we trust the result? Well, in the current version, we have even the update field. They probably 10 of them. They say return me the record was last updated today. I don't even have confidence it'll have correct result returned if you don't pick the exact right field. I just don't know with RIA how much you can trust the result returned.
So definitely the closer the label or the name of the attribute in your search, definitely the more accurate. But it doesn't have to be the exact name. For example, this one, multi-channel communication consent channel type. During my search with RIA, let's go back to RIA. I didn't have to specifically call out that specific verbatim, that attribute. I just said multi-channel communication through text message. I didn't specifically say channel type, but it was able to understand what I was referring to for them to return me the result. But you're right, the closer it is to the label of the attribute, it'll definitely be a lot more accurate. And we're still fine-tuning RIA. We're continuously improving it. So if you find that the results are not accurate or not based on your expectations, then give it a thumbs down. And then we'll always visit that, and we'll revisit and look and making that more accurate for you.
I guess the good thing is that it does show you the query, so you can
Yes,
verify if that's good or not.
absolutely. And you make a good point, right? So you can then see, okay, is this the right one? Is this the attribute? Or not only that, you can see at the search results, does this profile meet the criteria that I expect? Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So RIA not only saves Molly a ton of time, right, of manual searching or maybe logging service tickets to help her with her queries, but it also helps her and her data product team get deeper insights about the data. So let's say now Molly, she sees this profile and she wants to make sure that she only mails marketing materials to verified or valid addresses. And I already created this search results. So this one, where I asked RIA, can you create me a chart for locations by verification status? And so then it's spit out basically a bar chart of locations that have been verified, partially verified, ambiguous, unverified. And from here, I can add it to my dashboard and I can name this location by verification status. Go ahead and add that. And here at the bottom that it's been added. So earlier, for anyone really, any user to add a chart into the dashboard, they would have to go to the UI modeler console and UI modeler and console. They would have to create the chart. So let's see, here's profile stats. They would then have to drag the table, the bar chart here, right? They would then create the property, say, okay, what is it that you want to filter on? What is it equals? Okay, what's the style that you want to do? And not only that, not a lot of the users have access to this UI modeler, right? So if they want to just view analysis or create charts on the fly, they can do so easily using RIA without having to do this manual, time-consuming process using the UI modeler. So again, efficiency and productivity is what we're really focusing on. And this will then make it a lot faster, not just for Molly, the marketing person, but also configurators, right? They can just come here, ask RIA to create charts for them, add them to this dashboard, and it saves them time. So let's continue on with that use case, Molly, right? So let's go back to our search page. Let's talk about segments now, segmentation and activation. I'm going to close this. Hold on. Here is my search query. And let's say, okay, everything looks great. These are all the individuals who had given consent to receive text messaging who were born on said date. Perfect. And now what we added, and that's going to be releasing in 24.2, is the ability to create segments. So from this page alone, I can go ahead and say, I want to save this as a segment. And what a segment does is that, again, it groups profiles based on demographics and different types of attributes, right? So it saves it as a segment, but also Molly, the marketing person, can send this out to their marketing campaign tools like Marketo and run marketing campaigns against those group of individuals. Send them campaign emails, for example, or in this case, text messages, right? So from here, I can go ahead and save this as a segment. I can name the segment. I can create the description, and I can select who to share this with. So again, we want it to remain a very consistent experience with Save Search because that's what you guys are all familiar with as well. So the experience is very similar to that. So this is one way of saving a segment is you can either go from the search page first, do your search query, and save it as a segment. Okay. The other way is that notice here in the left panel is your segmentation, is a new page called segmentation. I click on this segmentation page, and this is that empty state that our users will be presented with. Welcome to your segment page. Let's go ahead and create new segment. And from here, once I click on create a new segment, then it takes me to an interface that again is very familiar and similar to what our customers are used to, which is a search UI. Because a segment essentially is a filtered list of individuals from the entire universe of data in the tenant. And this allows our customers to create filters and view the results in real time. So I can either use the quick filters and quickly filter on the different attribute values that I want, or I can also use advanced search and build queries. So from here, so let's go ahead and create, it's an individual, right? Communication, channel type, and let's say text messages, right? So from here, I can see the save button here. I can save it. And again, it lets me name it individuals with text message consent. I can go ahead and share it with all users. I can create a description. This is a group of individuals who have opted to receive COM via text message. And I can go ahead and save that. And here now in my segmentation page, it then shows me the list of all of the segments that I have created. And then here I can activate it. And notice how you see HubSpot, right? I can create a hotspot and I can start syncing. The reason why you see HubSpot on there is because that has been configured in RIH to integrate with the segmentation. So then once I send it to HubSpot, it's going to then send this group of profiles over there. It would sync it. And if I had Marketo or any kind of marketing campaign tools, I can also integrate it with this using RIH. It'll send it down, stream to those applications. Okay. And then I will then have that group of individuals that I can then use to send out campaigns to.
So can you remind me, when you activate and send it to a configured location, are you sending all of the profiles, or is there some subset of attributes that might have been selected? And then, what gets sent over? Is that controllable? Or configured in the recipe, perhaps?
Yeah, so let me answer the first part. Yes, it will send all the profiles. Now, the attributes, that's something that I definitely need to confirm with. I don't know if Suchen's still in the call and he knows. And if we're able to configure that in the recipes, but I will need to confirm with you, Steve.
Okay. And so there's segmentation where it looks like it's hooked into some downstream service which needs to be configured. Are the segments also available over API, much like saved searches?
This one, again, I'll have to confirm with you, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so in order to connect another service through any other thing, is any additional configuration required on the user's end, or does it just magically happen? So if I wanted to send a segment to my own process, how hard is that to set up?
So if you want to create a segment, so you're asking is how hard is it to set up in RIH?
I saw HubSpot come up there. What if I have downstream system one, where some process where I have my own pre-filtering validation process that then does something? How would I send this segment to that process?
So you would have to configure it in RIH.
Okay. So I need to enable RIH and then configure that. How would my tenant understand there is an endpoint available in RIH to consume the segments being sent? Is there any update that Reltio has to do to my tenant to make that happen?
No, Steve, that is all handled and should be handled in RIH. So RIH basically, it allows you to select when you use the Reltio connector. There's a Reltio connector built in. Once you select that, it will ask you for all those details. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thanks.
Okay, Jen.
We do have some other customer questions, unless you have more.
No, I'm ready
Carina?
for their questions.
All right, let's do it. So it's going back a little bit, but what's the search logic for the API like? Is it exact or fuzzy?
You mean the search before create?
Think so.
Yeah, it's equals.
Okay.
Yeah, so exact equals.
So when this search before create, when will it be released?
24.2.
That's coming up.
Yep, that's
Right,
coming
like
up in June. Actually, there's one
June.
more slide. I lied. This slide.
Okay. Oh, there you go. It's just like,
Yeah, June 17th. All of these that I just showed you today, 24.2 release.
awesome. So this is, when will the new features usually be available in the partner tenants? Same thing or different?
I believe same time. Yeah, unless Suchen, it's the same time as
No.
G, yeah? Or no?
Yeah, at the same time as GA, these features are accessible and will be available to all customers and partners at the same time.
Great. And a lot of people thumbs this one up. So lots of people are interested in profiling authoring, how to configure to approve the different steps from different approval teams. For example, step 1 should approve from DS team and step 2 should be approved from legal teams. Is there a way to do that or?
In the workflow modeler, and that's something that we can definitely give you more details on, but that would be done using custom workflows. And maybe it would be beneficial to do a deep dive on that and have more. Sergio would be our PM for that, for workflow, for him to explain more about that in more technical detail.
Yeah,
But
that's a good idea. Is RIA the only option for this, or is this feature provided for other queries?
What do you mean?
So Raul, I don't know if you can open up.
Hello, Chris. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So in RIA, you created a chart, right? You
Mhm.
asked her to do something and then you added it. And then it was ultimately shown in your profile page, right? The quality page, the profile stats page, right?
Right.
So is that option available with search, like advanced search also?
No,
So-
I think the question is, what if I build my own query? I don't write it in a plain English or whatever, right? I have my result and I want to create a chart out of it. Is that an option? That's the question, I think. The answer
Yes.
is no. But yeah, that's something that we have been thinking about. And I think there was some idea around that, that instead of asking users to configure the chart, you could basically build a search query and say, use this search query to build my chart, right? So I think there is an idea open for that, but that is currently not supported, but we have that under consideration.
Is RIA and segmentation features available to the customer 360 tenants? Is that where it's available?
It's available in our data product line only.
Yes, it's a customer 360 products.
Good. Hopefully, Matthew, that helps. Does the new RIA functionality support use case like give me stats of all HCO profiles that have shared the same identifier with type NPI or the same phone number?
I can answer that too. So that is a matching use case that is to be added in future version. Currently, it is not supported. So what RIA is currently trained for or has a skill for is searching capability, right? That's what you saw here. What you described there is more of a matching case, the use case, where you're saying, show me the list of records where 2 or more records have the same NPI number or any other thing. So that requires matching to be performed, or probably just go and grab the match record that you might have already generated previously. So that's where we are going next once we get through the search part.
Yeah. Look, it's just going to continue to get better and better. It's just like this is
Exactly.
the first, right?
Yeah.
it's
So when we
exciting.
started, this was just looking up information on documentation portal, and quickly we were able to add this kind of functionality where you can search your natural language prompts. And the next was basically use that outcome of the search to build charts, segmentation, and things like that. And I'm really excited to see how quickly it is learning new skills. So matching or set of matching use cases is something that we are actively researching at this point of time, and that will be added to the RIA skill very shortly.
So there's a question here, and I'm not sure that it says July 17th. Does that include Marketo integration? I don't think so. Anybody answer that? I don't think we have a Marketo integration specifically. Maybe we do, but
I think they're talking about segmentation using
yeah.
RIA.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So the ability to create the segments, yes, and also use RIH to integrate with downstream applications, yes, will be available July 17th. I'm sorry.
Okay. June 17th or June some. Got it. We have a collaborate profile feature in our dev tenant, but not in search before create yet. So I guess the question is,
Yeah. So yeah, the search before create feature releasing in June 17th with the GA release. So that's something that you guys should look forward to.
good. And then the features, will they be available in dev tenants to preview?
We are currently in preview now, actually.
Yeah. It is in preview, which is why you see it in dev today and not in other environments. will be available on environments starting 23.2 release date.
Great. I think we answered all the
Is it-
questions.
So is it available in all dev tenant or is specific? Because I'm in dev tenant, I don't see this feature. So
Yeah. So the set of preview tenants, which is where it is enabled currently. If you don't see it in any of the dev tenant, probably that's not on the preview list.
okay.
Please reach out to us and see why that tenant was left out. We can probably look at it. Maybe it's a duplicate or additional dev tenant, or it could be something else. But this feature will be available on all environments, all tenants, starting 24.2 release.
Great. All right. Anything else, Carina?
No, other than this is our release schedule for 24.2. So again, just to reiterate, the features that you see here will be available in general availability June 17th. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me or Sue Chen. Yeah, but that's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Until next week, we do have shows every single week until the end of July, basically. Please take the survey at the end. Just your feedback is always good. We all want to know how we did and how we can always get better. But until next time, I will be sharing this out by tomorrow. I have some time today to clean this up and edit the video and push it out. I'll be sending everyone an email that attended and RSVP'd for this. So see you guys next week. And thank you again for coming. And
Thanks,
Carina,
Chris.
thank you. And
Thank you.
Suchin, as always, thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Take care.